Perfect. Hi, guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Inside B, where we share all the stories from inside of IIM Bangalore. So today we have Sumit and Priyam. We had gotten a lot of requests to understand how do techies get into IIM Bangalore in EPGP and how is their journey, what sets them apart. So we're going to cover all of that and more today. So why don't we start with introduction? Sumit, you tell us how has your tech journey been thus far? And a little bit about what you've been doing at IIM Bangalore.
Yeah, so my tech journey started a pretty standard way. I started my first job with a startup at Small Case back when it was a very small team. I started as an early engineer, got a lot of hands-on work. I remember in my first week in the company, I had just started working and they put me on a production project right away because that is how startups work, right? From there, then a little over a year later, I moved to Goldman Sachs. I started off in a junior individual contributor position. Then I went on to build an analytics platform end to end. So in that, there were elements of all backend engineering, front end analytics, big data, and some bit of project management and some of product management as well. And then towards the end at Goldman, I worked as a senior individual contributor again on more of a high impact project because like I started focusing more on backend engineering specifically and the core architecture of the platform. Uh, Journey at IIM, oh my God, it's been a roller coaster. It's like multiple roller coasters every single day. It's a lot of learning and more than that, unlearning the engineering mindset to get into the business mindset.
Perfect. Over to you, Priyam.
Yeah, my journey has been a bit different. I'm not a techie like the way Sumit is. I started my career with Deloitte. Started in data engineering, so I was working on a bunch of SQL, on a bunch of these visualization tools, whatever. And then I think that's when I got my data understanding base set. Post which I think I I was into that existential mode as what am I supposed to do now? I in fact joined an MBA back right after Deloitte and
Oh.
got into it 1 week, dropped out of it. I was like, this is not for me right now. I didn't even know why I went there in the first place. Then I was like, what am I supposed to do? Then I think first thing that came to my mind was while I enjoyed being around tech, just building out solutions was not my niche. So I think I started exploring marketing because the next thing I knew was marketing. But then when I gave some interviews, I realized that's not for me either. Going all these negations, I landed up at product. I had a bunch of seniors who were PMs, and I wanted to like just touch base with them. I didn't even know what product was. This was around 4 or 5 years back, and I think that's where months of prep time there. And then I think started off as a founding PM in startup in a fintech startup. Eventually went to lead their platform product vertical there. So a bunch of growth modules on product, a bunch of fintech modules on product. I was trying to drive there. Then my last role was around again a product. I was the senior PM at a startup called SiteTracker, and I was leading their AI product. So they was trying to build their AI vertical there. So I was trying to help them out with their product strategy and whatnot. And yeah, I think eventually landed up here. Roller coaster for sure at the journey so far, but I think I expected that. I expected nothing less, and I think I am loving this roller coaster. I think the campus is adding the cherry on top of the cake. So I think I'm loving everything so far.
What drove you here? Like you said that you went to an MBA earlier, realized not the place for you. Why now? Like after, I'm sure you must be getting shitload of money being a PM. So why did you decide to come to MBA now, and why IMB specifically?
I think earlier when I joined my MBA, I just joined because I didn't know what I was doing, which is not the best reason to join a master's program to sort of spend your to be under loan and then so I think that's what I did. But and then after joining I realized that I wasn't sure what I'm supposed to do after MBA because that was a very fast decision I took. I was young, I took that decision. But I think over time, I realized that now I didn't need an MBA that desperately as much as I needed it earlier. So earlier decision was a very desperate decision. Now the decision I took was a very calculated one. Now I knew that I knew what I was going to do after MBA, and I think that's when you can enjoy, you can reap the most out of the entire program because you don't have to pressure yourself into doing things that you're clueless about. So I think it's helping me now for sure. I think that's what I'm glad I did that. So yeah.
So what is your goal now after MBA?
For me, it's going to be sticking to product itself. The sole reason I joined MBA was now I don't want, like, I'm already into product, so that's not the motivation for me. The motivation for me is when you go from middle to senior level product roles. It's not just product strategy or product thinking that helps you. It's also the entire holistic product understanding, business understanding, because I'm going to be staying in tech products, be it whatever. Mostly, I'm thinking of being into the enterprise platform stage. So I think when you go up the ladder, your all other skills matter than product thinking because that is already being taken care of other, maybe even better folks than you are, the stronger ICs. So I think for me is going to be get a broader business understanding, a broader financial understanding, cash flows understanding. It's super important for tech driven businesses. That's what I learned being in startups all my career. So I think these are my uh, outcomes that I'm trying to look for from this program. And I think I'm going to be sitting in a similar role that I was in before, but I believe with a better global product and maybe a little broader role than I was in before.
Got it. Thank you. Sumit, everybody knows like you came from a really good designation with a lot of money that you were earning. You were the VP, right? If I'm not wrong, at Goldman Sachs. So what drove you here? Tell us about it and also add on if why did you choose IMB specifically over other colleges? If you can touch base on that as well.
Yeah, so I mean, uh, coming for an MBA, it was not like a single aha moment sort of a thing. It basically, I mean, to leave something so much fun and like besides being lucrative, I have always enjoyed software engineering a lot, even the times when I was not doing it for money, right? To leave something that fun and that much stimulating, I needed a lot of good reasons. And over the years, kept collecting those good reasons because I had been generally curious about how things are working, about how value is being created. Every time I was even at small case or later at Goldman also, whenever I try to analyze why certain decisions are being made, there were always 10 possible options, right? The tech side of it would be clear to me that, okay, this is why this system works the best. But why do we need the system in the first place? What is the value added? Consistently over 6 years, this thing kept building, and I had a vague idea that something is missing, something big to understand these things is missing. And this was back when I was completely against going for an MBA. Like, I thought if I ever got a higher degree, it would be an MS in computer science or nothing, right? I thought MBA was like selling toothpaste only. So,
Wow.
yeah, which
Okay.
yeah, that was my understanding, foolish as it was. But then later, as I started talking to seniors, I started understanding that, okay, basically the decision on what to build is a huge decision, and a lot of thought has to go into it. Otherwise, a lot of money gets wasted. And the thing is, in the real world, even after putting so much thought, we see a lot of firms making some bad strategic decisions. So then without that knowledge, you're just nowhere, right? You cannot build things, you cannot create value from scratch without that knowledge. So that is what over the years led me to an MBA. And after I got the VP role, after I worked as a VP for about a year and a half, I was like, okay, now is the time that let's fill the gaps because it's now or never. Like, if I don't make the plunge now, then I will get too comfortable all my life and
Hmm.
I will be in this silo.
Hmm.
So, and then the decision about IIM Bangalore, that was a no-brainer, right? I mean, I have lived in Bangalore all my career, the tech ecosystem. So I want to, I also want to continue in the tech domain through the career, right? So this is like the mecca of it. You see early adopters for every single thing
Yeah.
in Bangalore. So being in Bangalore plus being at an IIM, that too one of the top IIMs, it becomes a no-brainer decision.
Got it. Priyam, you want to add something about why IMB was your choice?
I mean, for sure, the same reason. And plus, I've studied here as well. So I think I've been here for around last 13, 14-ish years in total. So I love the city in general itself. So that's another reason I want to stay in the city itself. But what sort of superseded that reason was the same thing, because I've been with startups, so I've gone to a lot of these startup mixers that keep happening. A lot of these the entire Kormangla, Sarjapur, HSR is full of these mixers that are happening about this. So I know how solid this ecosystem is, just to back what Sumit just mentioned. And I believe if you're building in tech, you've got to build in Bangalore, and then maybe you can expand from here, because you have a higher chance of getting those not early adopters, yes, but also the kind of ecosystem it has in terms of advice, guidance, people who have done it, people who have failed at it, everything. You can find all sorts of people, and I think startup ecosystem people become very humble while they talk to people, because they've seen failures, they've seen successes, they've seen a lot of things, and so they're ready to talk to you. So I think in general, this is, as a city, the best place. And of course, on top of it, IMB just adds on top of it, because I think the kind of tech products that have also come out of IMB in the past, they've been immense. So I think in that aspect as well, the ecosystem is super solid if you're building in tech in general in India.
Got it. Switching gears a bit, I understand for techies or product tech roles because a lot of applicants are from that pool. I understand it's pretty difficult, especially if you're general, male, and tech. How has your journey been, and what all did you write in SOP to make you stand out? So, Priyam, if you want to start, or yeah, sure.
I think for me, I really don't know how I got through, because my GMAT was pretty bad. So I think the only thing that worked for me was SOP and my interview. And I believe again, this is just what my speculation is. I don't know what really worked for me, but I think I spent good amount of time in building my story up on my SOP. I knew that my GMAT was bad. It was bad because it was a 5-year-old score, and I just wanted to go with it because it's gonna get expired in 1 year. So I just went with it. I gave more all in with my SOP and my interviews. So I think what I focused in SOP was stitching that story out, because, and especially I came from a startup product background. So I was able to stitch a very good story, because my story has been about growing products, and I've faced obstacles. Being in startups, I've faced a bunch of obstacles, and that's what I want to overcome while being here. So I believe my story stood out, took a lot of help from some mentors as well. So I think all in all, it helped me stitch a good story in my SOP. And I think in interview, for me, interview was straightforward. The only thing I got sort of grilled on was my salary. Then, and I think after that, apart from the motivation, it was because motivation was very solid, especially because I knew why I wanted to do. I think that's something I was very clear about. And I think that really reflected in my SOP as well. That worked for me well.
Would you want to share some insights to say do's and don'ts from your perspective, surely, both for interview and SOP?
Yeah, I think in what I think works is a story rather than numbers, rather than just I did this, I did this, I did this. That does not work. But what really works is what was behind it, like what was driving you to drive, like what made you achieve what you achieved or did not achieve what you did not achieve. I think putting that story out in a very concise manner, because you have a word limit out there, it really helps. So no, it's not a job application. So just putting the things that you've driven, the impact that you've achieved does not help, in my opinion, in applications. What helps is the context, the background that you're coming from, really making or convincing the reader that yes, this is the place you want to be, and all your things that have happened in your life have led to this moment. It sounds very dramatic, but I think SOPs are meant to be very story first and then data first. I think that really helped. I focused on that. I'm probably sure it worked.
I think so. That's why we are here together. What about you, Sumit, now? How was your journey? Yeah.
Very, very similar to Priyam, just that I had not worked in a business side role at all, right? So I had even bigger hurdle to cross because I mean this is a fact, right? All of these B schools have a strict limit on how many software engineers they will take,
Exactly.
right? I kept looking at all of the IIMs and all schools like their class proportions, and they all have like a strict cap, 5%, 10%, 15% cap on software engineers. Add to that being male, right? So everyone thinks just that you have too much privilege already,
Yeah.
right? So I was given this direction very clearly by seniors, by alums, everyone. Add spikes, right? Focus on the spikes in your profile and try to highlight like you've been a software engineer, so obviously you'll know software engineering, and it is assumed that if you have come this far, then you would know your craft,
Hmm.
right? Try to highlight things other than that. Any place where you have leadership roles, places where you have gone above and beyond, places where you have gone into thought leadership, trying to contribute to how they should be thinking about a certain function or role or product or anyway. Try to specifically highlight those things. And in the end, exactly what Priyam said, right? It has to all come together as one coherent story, as if everything in your life was leading you to this. And the thing is, it is not all just a bunch of BS. It's not that you have to create a story, right? If you think clearly about it, you will see these markers in all stages of your careers, which were actually hinting towards this thing, which were actually hinting towards this gap. It's just that looking back, you can now see all of this in a sequence.
Retrospect. Hmm.
So it is actually a real story, it just needs to be uncovered.
And would you also place some importance on writing about the futuristic part of your story?
The future part definitely has to be again coherent with the rest of your story, right? It should not look like you are just throwing away all of your experience and trying to do something completely new. That can work the rest of your whole profile shows like a complete prodigy, like I turn everything that I touch into gold, that kind of thing. But for a general good performing software engineer also, your post MBA journey has to kind of build upon what you have done pre MBA. It should show that you know how to leverage all of that what you have accumulated over the years. So,
Exactly.
for example, when I say that I plan to go into tech product management after this, kind of sitting in the intersection of product management along with a heavier focus on tech architecture, then that builds upon all of my experience on understanding tech architectures.
You want to add something, Priyam?
Yeah, and plus one to whatever Sumit mentioned. And another thing is, it's very important. The futuristic part of your application is, I feel, maybe a bit more important than what you've done when you're portraying what you've done in the past. Because a B school can teach you a bunch of things around frameworks, case studies, strategy thinking for product thinking and whatnot, but the clarity, that's something that you have to present to the B school as well. And I think futuristic aspect of the application shows that you have clarity on the decision that you're taking, and you're not just giving it away to the B school to handle you. And especially if you are in a program like EPGP, which is an executive program, it becomes even more important to sort of portray how mature you are in terms of where you want to be, because eventually that's going to take you wherever you're going to land up, not entirely. Clarity, showing that clarity really makes you stand out, because I feel it's a very underestimated trait, which can easily make you stand out if you can stitch together the story and also present the clarity into the future and how wherever, maybe whatever B school fits into that entire journey of yours.
Perfect. We did talk about IMB. However, let's touch base a little bit about EPGP. Was it preferred over PGP, the 2 year courses, or the other 1 year courses? Like, how did you come to know about EPGP, and how did you decide that this is the one that I want to do or pursue? Sumit, if you want to start.
Yeah, I mean, the choice between PGP and EPGP was pretty clear for me because I mean, I had written the GMAT for this very reason that see, I had already worked for so long. After 4 years for the PGP application, your like the points for years of experience that starts going down, right? If I'm not wrong. So and then another thing is I cannot not earn for 2 years. That was clear. I mean, losing that paycheck even right now, it has been what two
Two and a
pay
half.
cycles, and it hurts every end of the month.
It hurts every day. Every day you have to remind yourself why you are here. But okay, go on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, 10,000 rupees we're spending every day, right?
Yeah,
Without
man. All of these different kind of math, all the seniors have told us 10,000 per day if you divide by day, 8,000 per lecture if you go by number of lectures.
my God.
Oh my God. So yeah, I mean, going by that logic, going for a 2 year MBA definitely did not make sense for me. Yes, it would be a little more relaxed and it would give a little more time to percolate. But then the kind of journey that we have had in the last 2.5 months, right? It has been very fast and it kind of gives you the flavor of what it would be to run a business, right? What it would be to ride that tiger, right? You actually have to be that fast because no one else is stopping for you to be slow.
Over to you,
Yep.
Priyam. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, same thing, right? I knew I did not want to spend 2 years back to college again. That was my first check mark that I want a 1 year program. And I think that's where first choice becomes EPGP over any other program. But another thing is, all of us here come with a bunch of experience. And I think minimum is 5 years, maximum goes to, I believe, 15-ish.
15, right.
Right? And in that sense, you need a program that can just give you a little nudge, as opposed to, let's say, you're early in your career, you need to go through a very rigorous 2 year or maybe more than 1 year journey where maybe it makes sense that you pick PGP over EPGP. But I think once you've been in industry for quite some time, you know how industries work, you know where you are, and you are probably more confident of where you want to be as well if you're pursuing an EPGP program. I think it works well because it's been 2 months, one term, 2.5 months, one term is over, and sure, it was fast, but it touches every corner of the program. It touches every corner of what you need to study. And I think EPGP as a program is more of what you want to do by your own. It's not externally imposed. It's how internally motivated you are to catch those corners and maybe make the best use of it. So I think for me, EPGP was a no brainer. Time. I wanted a rigorous program because I cannot have a relaxed program at this point in my career. And of course, another important part was I wanted to work with folks who are more experienced. I wanted to work with folks who are maybe coming with years of experience and maybe diverse than what I have, so that because the cross learning, the peer learning becomes important. So I think all these factors completely made EPGP stand out.
So we did touch base a little bit about the study and peer group, but holistically, now that we are here, what are you enjoying the most, and what is something that maybe you expected or did not, but you're thoroughly feeling fulfilled that you're here. Priyam, yeah.
Well, I think one thing
It's
is which
difficult
I
to pick
never
one
thought.
thing that you're enjoying, yeah.
हाँ,
Okay.
मैं
It's
एक ही बताऊंगा
difficult to
भाई.
pick one thing. Huh?
नहीं यार, दो भी बोल सकते हो, इट्स ओके। ठीक है।
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, definitely, sure, it's difficult to pick one thing. But if I have to pick the thing, which I never thought I would be doing, was reading so many case studies, because I don't think I've read so many case studies in the last, what, 3 odd years, 3, 4 years. If I have to just compare last 3 years as compared to the last 2.5 months, I think every day you're learning, you're reading one case study, you're learning about a new industry. So I think this thing is new, and it started off by me being annoyed by it, but I think now I look forward to reading it for sure. I look forward to understanding what's in it there, what's there in it. Like, Like the first time I saw an operations management case study, I was like, operations management also has a case study, and then I went through it, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense. It now makes sense why it has a case study. So I think I'm loving the reading that's happening. I'm also loving a lot of this group project, because this group project is not normal projects. It feels like a war that you're in together. So it just makes you feel like, yeah, we'll share the pain and suffer and uh, survive through the suffering. But apart from that, I think it's really you don't get to know where time flies, which is what I signed up for at least. So it's working out well for me so far.
Perfect. What about you, Sumit?
For me, I would say, yeah, I mean, all of the things that Priyam said, definitely, but the topmost thing is the people. Dude, the people here are brilliant. Yeah, so it's basically a cliche, right? That you shouldn't be the smartest person. You should be in a place where like everyone is smarter, so you can learn from everyone. I live that every day here. Like all the people are like super accomplished here, and put the diversity on top of that. So even like people like you, Priyam, everyone, we have people from civil services, banks, and whatnot. Uh, you get to learn so many diverse perspectives in so much depth. Like everyone is so passionate about everything that they have done, and then you come together doing these things like working on projects together or just brainstorming some ideas together. That's something that I didn't think I would enjoy because I saw myself as a natural introvert, but here I think I it just feels really stimulating to talk to all of these people and working with them. And like the other thing that I didn't expect that I would enjoy so much was like working with fuzzy logic, right? Engineering in general teaches you to kind of just think in binary, right? Because you have to make so many complex decisions. You train yourself that okay, think in binary. If it is not right, it is wrong. Take that and move on. Go to the more efficient thing, right? You are on a chase for efficiency. But in the business world here, the thing that I have been loving a lot is you go with something like small pieces of somewhat right, and then ultimately they join together and build into something perfect, right? Which you cannot know in advance. So joining together fuzzy pieces, that is really good, and I think that is kind of a hint of how like a real business is also made.
That is so beautifully put, actually. Actually gave me goosebumps. Amazing and perfect. I lost my words. Anyway, so great. Thank you so much. I think I learned a lot about your journey. Anything that you would want to add on before we end this session? Any tips, tricks, or any parting words? Sumit, if you want to start.
Um, for any of the software engineering folks, if you're looking to, if you're even thinking a little bit about getting an MBA, I would say definitely think harder about it and get your reasons together for it, right? Because once you have those strong reasons, you will be able to, collect all of those spikes and build your coherent story. And that is what you will need to do. Like for a software engineer, a male, leave around the male part, right? But even any software engineer in India, you have to stand out to get into an elite program.
Perfect. Thank you. How about you, Priya?
I mean, everything's covered, but if I have to put it this way, I think there is one small myth that keeps floating around, that um, you want to be a product manager, you have to do an MBA. It does not work that way. So you can get into product without doing an MBA for sure. I think they are very different things altogether. What MBA teaches you is not product, but what MBA teaches you is maybe a little more overlying picture under which any product behaves. So it teaches about humans. It teaches you about how humans interact in an organization. It teaches you about how businesses work, how sales teams work, how different teams work, because all these soft skills are very critical to being a PM. Like that's, I think, a very crucial job of being a PM, because you are someone who's who doesn't have any power, but you have to still influence or get your work done somehow from engineers, designers, whatnot, right? So I think if you are a early stage product person, you are even remotely thinking about, choosing a program. I would say think more, just like Sumit mentioned, get your reasons straight. It might not help you to get into product, but it definitely helps you to sort of, move up the ladder more effectively, so that you otherwise, if not MBA, you can go around, work with startups, fail, grow, fail, and grow, fail, and grow. That is also a decent approach. Or you can be a part of a rigorous program, get those learnings, do all the failures in that 1 year, and then come out of there with maybe being a better product manager when you step out of the college. So I think that's about it. And one thing would be just keep your applications SOPs very real and not very fad, because that's something none of us really, I think, appreciate here. That's what at the 2 months into it, I've seen none of our professors appreciate any fad
Yeah.
stuff. They're just like, be tell me real stuff. They don't even like business
Jargon.
jargons. It's
Exactly.
very weird.
Talk
But
to me
yeah,
in
that's what
English.
it is.
They're like, tell us in plain English.
Yeah.
Forget about jargon. Right.
But we thought, no, sir, we thought that you need some fancy English. We're in B school, but that's not the case.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Perfect. Thank you so much, both of you. It was actually very insightful for me also being a non-techie, and we had the most tech issues today because we were doing we've never had tech issues, but yeah, it's bound to happen, due to the topic. So, yeah, thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching this. And leave comments if you have any further questions. And we will come up with furthermore industries for you. And thank you so much. Good night, guys. Thanks a lot for your time. Really, really appreciate. Now, let's do Thursday party.
Next Thursday.
Yeah,
It's
but
not this
today we
one.
can do our party, right?
अच्छा ऐसा भी हो रहा है क्या? अच्छा, मैं सोने
कर
वाला
सकते
था।
हैं. Oh, seriously?
नहीं, मजाक कर रहा हूँ।